Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, let's thanks to Allah who has given us healthiness and chances so you guys can watch the life from home without any obstacles. Salawat and salam always be given to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who brought us from the darkness of shirk to the likeness of tauhid, was brought us from the darkness of stupidity to the likeness of intelligence.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're feeling fresh for this new episode of Weekend English Talk series. How about you, Gibran?
I feel awesome. Waking up at 3 a.m. Doing tahajjud, reciting Quran together, doing subuh prayer. And what about you, Isan?
Me too. Oh, right. I don't think we've given an introduction yet. I don't think the viewers are familiar with us.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Well, let me start with myself. I'm Nur Ihsan Al Ghifari, from the 10th grade for software engineering in IDN Solo. I'm from Surakarta, Central Java.
And me, Gibran, also from 10th grade of software engineer. And I'm from Bekasi, West Java. And welcome to this English Weekend Talk series.
Let me first take a brief explanation on what this Weekend English Talk series is for the new viewers that haven't watched any previous episodes yet. Weekend English Talk, often abbreviated as WET, is a weekly series where selected IDN students will interview a foreign guest with unique experiences in their life, all in the English language.
And who will be the guest today?
Our guest will be Mr. Prawira. He's a Singaporean and he's the co-founder of the startup EduCourse. And surprisingly, when I was scrolling his social media, he was a part of the core product engineer of the DDR4 at Micron Technologies.
Oh, what's that?
Well, DDR4 is a lightning fast, awesome technology that's embedded inside our memory sticks in our computers. Almost all computers in this world use it. Even mine uses DDR4.
Well, you said you're scrolling his social media. Are you a stalker?
Wait, what? No,
Huh?
no, it's so that
Hey.
it's so that I can, we have something to talk about in this episode.
Well, also I'll stalk him too.
Wait, what?
Anyway, for those who didn't know, there'll be a giveaway for those who give our guests good questions, and there'll be 3 winners from 3 different people who give the best question. And who wants to get that prize? Let them know in the live chat.
Wow, I didn't know that. Can I?
No, it's only for the viewers. But to be honest, I want it too. I hope I can get it soon.
Oh man. Well, I guess the viewers are going to have fun today. Wait, how many hours have been talking?
200 years, I think. I think the viewers are hibernating.
I think the viewers are bored with our nonsense already. Well, without further ado, let's invite our Mr. Prawira to this stream. Hi there, Mr. Prawira. How are you today?
Hello. Alhamdulillah, I'm very good. You guys are very talkative today. I like it. I hope we can keep that energy going on throughout this session. Okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. That's nice. Nice to meet you, Mr. Prawira. May you introduce
Nice.
yourself to the audience? Maybe list your experiences or something.
All right. So Bismillah, salatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa asbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning, everyone. And welcome to today's sessions with IDN and myself. My name is Subkhan Prawira. And sorry, just to make the record straight, I'm not Singaporean. I'm actually Indonesian.
Oh.
It's just that I've been going abroad for a while now. So maybe you confuse a bit when you read my LinkedIn profile or something like that.
Yes. We were confused whether you are Singaporean or Indonesian actually.
No problem. That is like understandable. So currently I'm working and living with my family in Singapore. I'm working as a IC product development engineers for many years, and in general, I have vast experience in the semiconductor industry sector. In terms of educational background, so I received my Bachelor of Engineering from NTU, which is the Nanyang Technological University. And my master degree, I got it from NUS, it's a National University of Singapore. And Alhamdulillah, actually, for both studies, I received scholarship. So I was under scholarship program for during the NTU study, which is like from year of 2003 to 2007. I got the sponsorship from Singapore Technologies for full 4 year scholarships. Singapore Technology is one of the big corporation in Singapore, by the way. And for my master degree, I got the sponsorship actually from the company where I actually working at that time. So I was working full time in Micron, but at the same time, they sponsored me to get a master degree in NUS on a part-time studies. Beside that, or besides Singapore, I also have some working and living experience in the United States of America for about 2 years
No.
Wow.
before we decided to go back to Singapore for family and personal reasons. But
Yeah.
anyway, I think if you are interested to know more about that, then you can also ask question. If any one of the audience as well wanted to know more about like some experience in the US, I might also be able to fill up something on that. Yeah, I think that's about all the overview, a brief introduction of myself. I hope it can give you a overview of what I've gone through, and I'll try my best to answer any of your questions.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Have you drank coffee or tea, or what kind of breakfast you ate or drank?
yeah, for today.
Hmm?
Ha! Breakfast. I normally do light breakfast, like coffee is something that my wife will make me like, and it will like 1 cup for a whole day because I'm not that a coffee person,
Oh,
but I do enjoy that. It's not that I'm not an expert on that. Breakfast, I can be just a bread or maybe a cereals or with milks, and yeah, basically it's just a light breakfast I would prefer.
live
Oh
breakfast.
yeah.
Well, I had milk for today. It was pretty nice. What about you?
I have fried rice and with I drank this only water. Just
Water.
Wow,
okay.
fried rice is a big one, you know.
Yeah,
You are
yeah.
not
Yeah.
We had
sleepy now?
breakfast. Yeah, we had nasi goreng as breakfast.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very nice. Well, I guess without wasting our time, let's get to our questions. So, like the first that I've been wondering is that, like, how is your life in Singapore? Like, is it like different from Indonesia, or maybe it's like, there's something better in Singapore or something like that?
Okay, that's a very good question right off the bat. Living in Singapore as compared to Indonesia is, I would say, is very similar. So it depends on the person actually.
Mm,
Singapore, I think, as of any other places in the world, especially any other big cities in the world, like Jakarta or some. It depends on your lifestyles. You can pick and choose what kind of life that you actually wanted to go through.
mm,
So just for myself, why I would say that, and that is actually one of the considerations that make us right now to stay in Singapore, is that to us is very similar in Indonesia. It is very easy to for us Muslim, let's say, to be living in Singapore. Like for me, my house is very near to masjid, to the mosque, so I can actually uh, do sholat lima waktu in the mosque, especially when during this work from home
mm,
scenarios. And there are many Muslims in Singapore. It is very easy to find halal food or halal lifestyles. And the language, especially in Singapore. So there are three major language. English is the language of business, of finance, basically of a government sector. Is basically is common tongue, English. And then we have Chinese,
Straight.
China's language. And then, interestingly, after that is Malay language. Malay language is
Yeah.
very similar to Indonesian language. In fact, Malay, I guess, is actually coming from Sumatra in Indonesia.
Mm,
If I mean
yeah.
that is my understanding. So it's very similar to Indonesian language, and there are a lot of the place where I live now. I'm living near masjid, and the Malay society there is like a lot. So just so imagine your neighborhood is so that's why I told you it's like in Indonesia there are so many Muslims, there's so many neighborhood. That is a good thing for the children as well. It's easy to find religious class, for example, kajian, something like that is very doable in Singapore if you know how, if you actually know where to go. Um, yeah, and educational system in terms of worldly educations like is the schools, I think it's good. But for the religious education, we as a parent just need to be proactive. Like we need to educate our the kid ourselves, and I
Mm.
think it's yeah it's dependent on families. But bottom line, comparing Indonesia, Singapore, and for example, the one that I have experienced myself, United States of America, I think Singapore, for me personally, have a good spot that has the factor of both world. Like we have access to uh, developed countries, and we also have access of Indonesia side of it. Like yeah,
Yes.
Okay,
It's like a bridge between the two, right? Like Singapore has
right,
access to,
Malaysia.
yeah, a lot of those big countries, and also about
right,
Indonesian as well.
right.
Mm.
In the traditional countries, and is to me is Muslim friendly as well.
Muslim friendly.
Yeah, so yeah, so well in US, like actually in US is great actually from career opportunity. For example, you want to study something, especially technology. On this case, in IC or semiconductor technologies, the one which I'm working right now and I've been working so far. If you want to get actually US or America is, I would say, the best place to work on in terms of career opportunity and those things. Is uh, all big developments in these areas, all big companies, all the latest technologies actually all right, based on my experience is in US, and I do enjoy working in the US very much, very much.
Right.
We just that
Mm.
for living permanently, especially with the families and young children. I think that consideration itself make us actually move toward Singapore, which I mentioned before, have a nice spot on those factors. But if from pure career and I would say technology learning experience, you US is so far for me for myself is like is very good places down there to study and gaining experience.
Yeah, since the US is like the major superpower of this world, right? It has,
Mm.
yeah, they have
Yes,
invented a lot of things from there. Yeah, I think that makes sense.
yeah, Silicon Valley is where to go for if you want to go gain a real experience. I mean, you have access to the top notch, like state of the art technologies and environment. I would say environment because there are so many bright people. That is where I actually see like like the legendary in the field, for example, like the experts of the expert, those who found something, those who actually develop a real things. So the experience actually is priceless. Yeah, I think we have background noises. Is it? Is it coming from you? Good. Anyway,
Yeah, I know.
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm wondering, like, since Singapore is so small, like, do you feel like isolated? Like, there aren't many places to kind of visit in Singapore? Like,
Okay. Interesting. Yes, Singapore actually, in terms of country, I think is rather small in the terms of
yeah, it's
country.
rather
But in terms of cities, I think it's a big cities.
It's a
And
big city.
again, what you call that? Whether we get bored living here, again, it's depend on your lifestyle. For my lifestyles in Singapore is basically mainly for is working professionally as well as doing is like bringing up our family, so the children will be busy in on their learning journeys. We are, I mean, we alhamdulillah we are busy with something that is manfaat, is beneficial. We try to focus on something that is beneficial, so it's not small at all. And we are very close to Indonesia. That's why Singapore to me is you can consider Singapore geographically is the same as Batam or maybe Johor or something like that geographically. So
I see.
you are actually integrated. Like you can go anywhere in Indonesia or in Malaysia or anywhere you want actually. But most of the time you are so busy with your stuff that you actually can't go travel too much. But we actually have a habit to actually go back to Indonesia like at least twice a year or so. So yeah, to answer your question, no, it's not. We are not limited, or we don't get bored um, in this small country like this.
I'm sorry, there's a noise.
No
There's a
problem.
noise session in the city. Yeah,
Yeah.
There's
it happens almost every day. Like, yeah.
yeah, almost every day. Even we can sleep
There is, oh,
very comfortably.
is there any classes like in just running beside you right now, or what
No, it's
what was the
it's the
event?
uh, it's the people.
It's the society,
Yeah,
the
I
it's the
citizens.
village.
see.
I
Really?
think there's a wedding ceremony over here,
Yeah.
so it's
Oh,
kind of,
that's
yeah, noisy. I'm sorry for that.
I
I
see,
apologize.
I see, I see. I thought it's from your other activity in the school,
Yes.
like there is a pengajian or something like that. So it's actually I think most probably it's wedding ceremony. I'm okay with that, but yeah, I hope you guys are fine too.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So okay, going into our next question. So like, it's listed on your social media that you're the co-founder of Educos, right?
Yes, that's actually true. So I have that initiative. So to a quick story about that is my good friend Permata, who is the president and is the main founders for this edu course, is actually my good friends, and we actually have a lot of interactions, discussions about it, about the vision and missions of the edu course moving forwards, and we are kind of aligned with the missions, and I'm supporting as my token of support with the friends. We decided to join the effort to make this edu course hopefully a company, a start with the missions in educations. And I think that's where we are right now. Because it's up and running, and hopefully can make a good impact to
Yeah.
the society, to yeah, basically to the world, to Indonesia in general. That is our big hope in the future with EduCourse.
Yeah, it looks like it's pretty successful actually. It has to 20,000 people registered to Educos. So yeah,
Yeah,
I think that's
Alhamdulillah. It has been
alhamdulillah.
a
Yeah.
good run, but there are the challenges, and the room for improvements is also still very big. This I think the educational, especially in the STEM sector, with the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields, is highly competed. It's a high competition sector right now, because I think there are there are growing interest in the societies. I think from the government itself, with regards to the importance of the STEM, the education of the STEM, especially for young childrens and up to like what you call a grade 10 or grade 11. So basically, there is growing interest on STEM station, and that makes it this to be a highly competitive sector. And yeah, Edukos will keep strive towards the excellence, and hopefully we will get successful days ahead of us, inshallah. With Allah.
Mashallah.
Amin.
Yeah, I hope. So, moving to our next question. It seems that you're a product engineer for like many years. So I'm kind of wondering, like, what does a product engineer do exactly? Like, what do they do in a company? Like, what do they contribute to the product?
Okay, yeah. So just moving back a little before I became a product engineer. I was actually mostly doing design. My background was actually doing IC design in school, and as well as my internship. And I actually engaged in a joint project. My final year project was actually doing IC design with a full-fledged IC company, ST Microelectronics, from France and Italy. So that is my background. So I know what is the designer doing IC designs. So we are doing a transistor level design from scratch to the system level of the IC itself. It's very interesting, very deep, very high technology, and very what you call that, very interesting to me, interesting field. But I have gone through that for maybe 1.5 years, and at that times, I have I basically want to try something else, but still under the IC industry. Yes, so IC industry is very big. We have from design, from manufacturing, from development. The development phase is very big. It's very big process and involve a lot of expertise. So I already tasted the life or the working as an IC designers, and then when I graduated, I was actually just try myself. I came, so whenever there is invitations from IC companies for their positions, like there is a seminars or there is a site visit or something like that they are held, because during the university life, there are a lot of company actually inviting us to come to their place to see, to look around, and have a seminar. So I actually came to that seminar, and during the seminar, they actually kind of invite me, like, why don't you have interview with us and see what are the position that they have with us. That is during still when I was studying. Actually, I accepted their invitations to come and to understand more what they are doing. And long story short, I gone through interview as a product engineer, which actually um, own the product development phase, not only during the design side, but like whatever after designs, product engineer on the development of that particular product from start to end. So until we get the product fabricated, manufactured, and not stopping on that, we also need to make sure that the products can be manufactured in a high volume, with the best quality, with the best yield. I think yield is I think basically with the best performance, with the best quality, and so on. So that actually piqued my interest. I get to know other stuff other than designing, so I get to know the full picture of the what is IC product actually is, and and, and we actually become like a glue. So the product engineers at that time, during my on my first company, is actually is very important in the product life itself. So right after design, when the design completed, they will give it to us. So we will need to make sure that, because a design is like basically mostly is from simulation point of view. So they simulate everything looks good, but after we get the real things, this is where the physics world actually come into the picture. All the non-idealities, like what we design is actually not always 100% what we get. That is in the hardware world. So if you design IC, it looks good on the simulations. After we fabricate it, there can be a lot of problems. So that is where product engineering is coming from. We investigate what is the problems. We are coming with the fix. We are coming with improvements, and not stopping and not only stop on that. After that, we need to run it in high volumes. In a high volume, meaning like we need to produce these parts like in a hundred of millions, for example, parts, and it needs to be economically sound. This part need to have a good quality, good reliabilities, so that when customer has it, they will be happy. Like they will see, or they wouldn't even realize that there is an IC inside, like what they have. Like for example, inside the phone is full of
Yes,
ICs.
it's full of ICs.
All
Saying they
yes,
have no idea.
correct. All right, you're right. That's why. So our job is to make sure that the experience the user have is like seamless. They don't even know what is inside, what is actually working
Yeah,
in the backgrounds, but it actually is super complicated. It's a
it's super
highly
complicated. Yeah.
yes, it's a highly technical, demanding jobs, and I kind of I enjoy that. I learn a lot
Mm.
from this. It gives me a whole overviews. Yes, so product engineering is like basically we have a big um, pictures of an IC as a whole.
Mm.
We deal with fab. Fab is the fabrication facility. It's also big roles in IC world. Fab, we have a back end assembly test house. We have a design. So we need to combine all of this to make a successful product, and that is what I'm doing
Oh,
basically.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
So,
So do you guys
previously,
know anything about IC?
I
yeah, I'm
uh,
actually pretty interested in computer things. So
I
I know,
see.
a little bit about ICs and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Is you can look. I think there are so many online what you call it, online video, online
Yeah,
books
online
about it.
articles.
online
If you
knowledge.
are interested, right? And if you have interest, I think is a good is a good industry actually, and have a big opportunity moving forward. But it just unfortunately it's not yet big in Indonesia, because I think there are many factors, but outside Indonesia, like for example in Singapore, is quite it's big industry itself. In Malaysia, I think they have some. Last time I know in Batam, they have at least like a back end side of it. So there were some assembly houses in Batam. I think now still have, but it's not progressing as fast as it was being expected so far. And if you learn about like global economies, like the right now in terms in the IC industry, there is this IC Gaydon or something like that. Basically, is a everyone is looking for an IC, and it's very difficult to get an IC because the supply is constrained. So there are more demand than what we can actually
Fine.
supply. So that tells something that the demand of it actually huge. And when there is an imbalance between demand and supply, and in this case the demand is much larger than the supplies, that is where the growth is. So yeah, as we can talk, a whole day about this, but yeah, anyway, I don't want to get involved on that. Go ahead
Yeah.
with I will, yeah, I will let it to you now. Go ahead with other questions if you have.
Okay.
Okay.
For my next question is like, what is the hardest part of being a product engineer?
Hardest part. Hmm Um, the hardest okay. I mentioned before that we actually need to know about the whole cycle of the IC product itself. So we need to know about design. We need to know about fabrication technologies. We need to know about back end technologies. We need to know about text technologies. We need to know sometime about marketing as well, sometime about how the part is actually being used in a real life or application. So there are many um, knowledge discipline that we need to be familiar with, and we need to communicate with all of those parties because like say designer will have their own work to do. They have their own concerns, and basically they talk with certain language themselves. And then comes fabrication facilities. They have also their own business. They have their own concern, interests, and so on. And that multiplies to the whole IC is like a test, application, everything. So you need to be able to become the bridge for all of those teams, so that um, making sure that the you in the end of the day at the end of the day you get a great products that everybody loves. And that is, I think, one of the complexity. You are not only work on what you do, you also need to collaborate with everyone's on the line to make the project successful. That is a challenge, and also um, it's something that if you enjoy, then it's become your passion.
Based on your experience, what was the lowest moment being a product engineer?
The lowest moment. Okay, I think there are times when there are too many things to do. There are so many decisions awaiting for you. You need to make. You get pressure from um, all other parties for the decisions. They will give you a lot of data. Oh, it is the data. This is the problems. What should we do? What what decision should we go ahead? And that can be very stressful because when you make a decision, you need to be responsible for that. And to make a decision is not easy. You need to consider a lot of things. And in engineering sector, decision is just not a guess. It's based on the data. So you need to be able. So it's a technically challenging, as well as there are sometimes considerations, not only against, there are a lot of interests of an IC. Let's say you have a problem. The problem can be from the design. The problem can be from the fab defect or something. The problem can be from the assembly, or it can be from the test. And they are all with, it's like we become judge. We are the investigator. We need to, okay, so fab is having a problem, for example. When fab is having a problem, of course the fab people will be some maybe unhappy or something like that. But but is that's why it's an art. It's not that they will hate it. I mean, they will, of course they don't like it when they have problem. But you need to be able to communicate that in a good fashions, and not only blaming problems, not only like giving or showing people mistake, but we need to be able to come up with solution as well to help them fix the problem. And so, yeah, that, I hope that answer your question. Yeah.
What is it like to apply to a company as a product engineer? What kind of question do they ask?
Uh, A different company, I think, might have different expectations for this position. Um, like one company can have a huge um, expectation for a products engine, like for example, for the case of my first job, the product engineering actually hold a big power. That's why their question will range from your technical abilities, like how good you are in IC, like designs, physics, or mathematic kind of technical questions. Also, like they want to know how good you are uh, from the communications point of view, because you need to work with a lot of people, so you need to collaborate, and whether you're a team player, how good you are as a team. So I think these are the two main um, uh, the two keys index that they will look for: technical abilities and soft skills in communication and team, basically a teamwork ability.
Mm, interesting. So I want to actually ask, like, you said that previously you uh, went to America. So, like, how's your experience and how did you get to America?
Okay. Is this is okay? Good question again. So I was involved. So okay, I was at that time I was in Micron, and Micron is a U.S. company. Their headquarter is in the U.S. So at that time, after 3 years of working, um, supporting the US team from Singapore at that time, they invite me to do a development work for DDR4, the first DDR4 at that time. At that time was 2010 maybe. Yeah, I think about 2010, where I think the DDR at that time is still DDR2, DDR1, and DDR3. There is no DDR4 yet. So they invite me to work there as part of the main development, the team that the main team that developed the DDR4. And of course, I will take the opportunity. So me and my families actually moved there for about 2 years, maybe, to work basically on that projects, and it was successful. So we actually managed to. That is where actually all the fun coming from. When you are working on a very interesting project, the first of its kind in the world at that times,
Yes.
and you get your hand so-called dirty on working on something. That is where the hardship actually coming in, but you learn a whole lot of things. You get stressed out, you get stretched out of your abilities with a lot of problems, and you need to and all those expectations. But at the end of it, after you've gone through that, that is to me one of the biggest and most valuable learning time for myself, technically and experience, because again, I'm working with all of those expertise, veteran in the IC development stage, all the best engineers, all the best designers, all the best peoples. They are much older than me at that time. I think I'm still kind of young in the as an engineer. I think one of the youngest engineer at the time, and that is where when I work with them, I actually learn from them a lot, and that is priceless. You can't do that in school.
Yes.
This is a real world experience. It's not just studying. It's not like trying to aim for a good mark on an exam or something like that. You actually like kind of live with them professionally. So like maybe it's like in religion, in Islamic side, maybe it's like you live with ulama. You actually mulazamah with them. You study with them, you get close to know with them, you know their adab, you know what they are doing. So that is where all the knowledge actually have impact on you. So those 2 years is actually on in US was actually very good. I was actually being offered a permanent role in the US, meaning that they offer me to work there in the US instead of Singapore. Um, and that is also is a difficult for me to actually to decide. In one side, working in US is a very good offer. I mean, it's like
Yeah. Actually,
whatever you want. Like you get, for example, you get a lot of money. You from career point of view, you get everything you want. Like the high career, the fast careers, you get to learn all the good stuff. So sometimes like a no-brainer for that's why my colleague in company, like my friends in company, they will uh, they actually question me why in the end I don't take the opportunity to stay there to people permanently working in the US. They actually surprised why Subkhan, why actually rejected the offer, or why actually you go back to Singapore. I mean, you can get everything there. What would you? But that is actually where your value, you're being tested on what is important for you. Again, this is by personal basis. I'm not saying that what I took is like applicable for everyone, but that is where I will highlight the importance of for us Muslim to actually know our religions, know what is important for us, that we live not only for worldly matters, we need to know that akhirat is in the end of at the end of the day is our main objective. We can chase our dreams, our dunya, whatever we like. You can chase it as hard as you can, be as rich as you want, but do not sacrifice your religion. I think that is and to me at that time I just given that opportunities. In one end I get everything in my dunya, but at the end on the other hand I also feel that there can be a risk for myself, for my religion, especially for my children actually. Because children needs to, I mean, the needs environment a lot. And I'm not saying that environment in US is bad. No, 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 no. But I'm
yeah.
just saying that I think I can get a better or lesser risk on the akhirat side if I actually living in Singapore. And I mean, it's like give and takes. Of course, I might lose a lot of opportunities, but I hope Allah can give a better return at the end of the day. And I would still advise you guys to, yeah, to keep study, to try to reach whatever dream you have, but never forget that akhirat is the most important thing. So you have to keep that on the back of your mind. Um,
Yes.
So I want to ask something. So like, what did you exactly contribute to DDR4 in USA as a product engineer? Can you maybe tell a brief story about it?
okay. Okay. First of all, I cannot talk too much about this because there are
Oh,
so
it's
many.
confidential.
Yes, there are so many
Oh,
confidential
Oh,
informations about it. But so again, we are a team of not many people, and each of us was actually focusing on a part on the DDR4. So we need to like what do you call it? We need to validate like the DDR4 product from all possible angle, like from the reliability standpoint, for functionality standpoints. Functionality, there are a lot functionality in DDR4 that is actually in being introduced the first time. not being seen on the previous DDR. And in a team, we're actually being focused on one of that sector. And yeah, to make the long story short, I'm focusing on high speed performance of the DDR4, all the new features in DDR4. I actually need to validate, find the problem and find the solutions. Yeah, being an investigator and being a problem is a problem solver for the part itself.
So I want to actually ask, like in the USA, like are there a lot of mosques in there? Of, like how do you like do prayers? Islamic prayers, like regular salat lima
Right,
waktu.
right. Um, it really depends because US is a huge country, and depending on where you live, is I mean the amount of Muslim populations is different. Like for example, in California, in Silicon Valley, I think there are. I mean, compared to other cities in the US, Silicon Valley has quite a lot of Muslim in California. So there can be more mosques. There are a lot more mosques than on the other part of USA. But by a lot, it means that it's still far away from from let's say from
Yeah.
Singapore, from Indonesia. It's not even comparable. But again, you still can practice. I believe I met with a lot of inshallah good Muslim, even in US. They have, yeah, so you can still practice it as a Muslim. It's just that it is more challenging. It is more difficult.
Mm.
You need to be like a very good. You need to be disciplined on yourself, and that is not easy. Like it's not easy because you are getting a lot of challenges, like to find even to like food, halal food. You need like to in Indonesia, you take it for granted by default the food being sold there is halal, but not but it's the other way around in the US. By default, you cannot assume that that is halal because it's like so you
Yeah.
need for everything you do, you need to like spend time. You need like to spend more effort. The most will definitely be more rare than in Muslim countries, and that is all the challenges coming from. For adult, maybe you can do that. Like if you already adult, you have a good iman already. Like for examples, that hardship you can overcome. Okay, even the mosque is far, I will just go there because you already established like because iman is increasing and decreasing, and like the more adult of you, I think you can get a better chance. But imagine you are children, it's more difficult for you, right? Your friend, your everything, your environment, it's not easy for them yeah, to overcome that challenges. So I would recommend if you're already big enough, if you're already like more than teenagers, adults, yeah, I think you can go there, get experience, study, as long as you already prepare yourself on what may come, what challenges may come. Yeah. So back to your question, the amount of mosques, the mosque is not that much. It's depending on the location, but it's still by far lesser than what you have right now in Indonesia or than in other country like Malaysia, Singapore. Yeah. Okay.
So, how are the Muslim people there? Are they different from Indonesian Muslim?
Yes, it's very interesting because we met with Muslim for all parts of the world. Africa, Middle East, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan. So it's actually good experience itself. I have I have like you met with Arab peoples like from Iraq, from actually from all the Middle East is over there. So is because Muslim community is not that big,
Oh.
and when we have like Eid, for example, Idul Adha, Idul Fitri, or even in the mosque, like during the Jumat, we'll we'll see the Muslim like in that area, and that is where you actually found out that not many people from Indonesia, for example, there are, but it's actually not the majority. I think the majority is still coming from actually not. I think there's no like a single majority. Like basically, maybe it's evenly distributed, but you
It's
met people.
diverse.
Yes, very diverse, and it's good. It's actually a good experience to have.
Mm.
You will know like they have different habits, and but the good things is that we are brothers under Islam, and we do prayer the same. We go to the same mosque. We interact with each other. We treat each other nicely. So even it's diverse, but we are still brother and sister. I think that's good thing.
Okay, so uh, if I remember correctly, doing adhan in America is not allowed. So how do you, like, when adhan has a mm, being
No.
dikumandangkan di masjid?
I see. I see. I know. Actually, I don't know whether it's a lot or not a lot. I don't even actually know. But because uh, if your question is about how do we know about when is the waktu for solat, for example, it's very easy, right? I thought
Prayer time.
is yeah, prayer time is everywhere.
Yeah.
So I think that is not the challenge. I think
Mm.
prayer time is like everyone can access it. It's not a secret, and everyone know that. Uh, the challenges is like whether you will adapt to it or not, whether you will be disciplined about it or not, whether you will still go to mosque or whether you will still at least if you can do the 5 prayers without any problem, that is actually a good enough what you is a at least you can met the minimum. That is actually good enough. But because of the challenges, a lot of unfortunately I met not a lot, but it's not uncommon to see that the Muslim itself get tired out, meaning that they are getting weaker and weaker because it's not that easy. Like during like say you want to perform zuhur or asar in the office, then you need to like at least you need to spend some effort to do, right? It's not like in Indonesia everyone know like dur time there are a lot of masjid, there are a lot of musola, just
Mm,
do.
yeah.
But like in an environment where people do not know Islam, they don't even know that we need to do uh, prayer during that time, so we need to sometimes we need to explain to them, oh, we need like during the meeting, if like the meeting like uh, last for a few hours and we need to perform solar, then I need to explain to my boss like sorry, I need to like go
Yeah.
for a break,
Yes.
15 minutes of break, I really need to do this, and
Yeah.
and that sometimes it's not easy to do,
Mm, yes.
especially for young people or those. Yeah, basically that is actually quite a challenge
Mm.
itself when you are
Yeah,
alone,
because
when not.
they don't
Yeah, go
know.
ahead. Yes, they don't know, and it's not that they don't want you to do, it's just that sometimes you need to explain,
Yes.
and most of the time they are okay with that, but it's just that um, no secret, right? I mean, now even there is those Islamophobia. I mean, people get scared of
Yeah.
anything got things to do with Islam, like
Yeah.
seeing
Yeah.
people
It's
seeing people like Salat. What is he doing? Like with Arabic language. I mean, although it's not by default happen anymore, but it's a real problem. People,
Yes.
and that actually can become a challenge for everyone, for every Muslim. So yeah, it's doable. Is that you need to um, spend the effort. You need to actually took action. You cannot just take it for granted that you can. I mean, you cannot take for granted what you do in Indonesia in this case, like applicable in other foreign country, in US, in Europe. I think yeah, you need to be firm on yourself. You need to be motivated and have understanding that I need to do this. I need to do this. Something like
Uh, uh, how's the mosque right there? I mean, are there a lot of people in the mosque? Like every prayer time, there's usually many staff or many people usually praying there.
oh, you asking about the mosque? The mosque?
There. How are there a lot of people in the mosque?
Yeah, like how many?
Okay, okay, okay,
Uh,
okay, okay. Depending on the time, like for example, during Friday prayers, yeah, there will be a lot of people in the mosque, in the mosque. But during like 5 daily prayers, there might not be. And again, it's depending on where you live, but there might not be a lot of peoples in the mosque. So I think by default, the 5 daily prayers, people will actually not doing in the mosque most of them, because the mosque also not that many. So if you live far away from that, it's not easy, right? Especially like if you work, if your office is far away from the mosque, it's not easy like to come there every time. So most of the time people will do their daily prayers, not in the mosque. In general, I'm talking about in general. But during the Friday prayers, yeah, the mosque is normally over subscribed, meaning there are more people than. That's why they will do like 2 times or 3 times of Friday prayers. So they have like three slot, like 1 to 1:30 or 1 to 2, then 2 to 3, and so on. So because there will be normally more people that want to go to do Friday prayer that the mosque can accommodate.
So I actually want to ask, like, based on your experience in the USA, uh, how's like your experience, like the the Americans there? How do they like perceive Muslims, like in your
I
experience?
see. Okay. I was lucky enough. I was stay there during the year of 2011 to 2013. So at that time, it was during Obama time, meaning that
Obama.
there is no such thing. I mean, I personally, with families, never had bad experience of any kind related with Islamophobia.
Mm.
Me and my wife and my kids, alhamdulillah, personally don't never got a big incident in that actually very bad incident related to our religion, alhamdulillah. In the office, they even, when I first came to the office, they even show me a rule that you cannot be discriminated because of your religion, like how you look like. For example, I have jenggot like this, or I can even wear my baju koko, for example, to work. Doesn't matter. People cannot make a case. It's our rights. It's our right to have, to how I look, to how to it's our right to become a Muslim, if our right to like do prayer or something like that. It's actually very. I'm surprised myself. Like I thought like there will be a big problem. No, actually, religion is a sensitive matter. If you are being discriminated because of your religion or how you look, for examples, you can actually go to the court, or actually basically uh, there is a ruling, a serious ruling for those who actually discriminated people against. religion. So in a way, our rights as a Muslim is protected. So, and wherever we go to a lot of places. We go to a lot of big cities like New York cities. We want to a lot of places. Me and my wife and my children. And my wife is all in hijab, in a big hijab like that. We go to airport, we go to anywhere. Uh, we are actually being treated well. Like when they want to check my wife, they will always get a woman officer to check my wife. Like say we go through airport screening. Like we need to empty our
Yes.
pocket. We need to do all of that. And Alhamdulillah, we were actually being treated very well. So it's a all of overall pleasant experience. Considering how we look like, we are like a full-blown Muslim. I mean, uh, when we go somewhere, like we go to like even small cities in like in the middle of nowhere, where everyone is actually foreigners, like Caucasians, Bule, I mean, and there is us like in this skin, brown skin, and like with woman with a full hijab. We actually looks like outsider, right?
Yes.
But Alhamdulillah, we never had a big or a major incident, bad incident. I mean, involving that throughout our stay in US. So Alhamdulillah, that is actually what's happening. But I don't know about it now because like there is a big political happens. I mean, in the US, like there is a MAGA movement or something. And I heard it's becoming even and more challenges right now. Uh, yeah, but I think and I hope that wherever we are, I think hopefully Allah will help us to live peacefully.
I mean,
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's all me and Gibran have been wondering about. Maybe the viewers have any question for Mr. Barbara. You can type them in the live chat. Okay, let me see.
let me cheat. Let me see.
Let me see.
Uh,
Okay, it's from Zer Parker. Is it
where's
possible for us Indonesian can work abroad Singapore with Indonesian education only? If yes, any tips and tricks can be shared.
Okay. So the question is about whether it is possible to work in Singapore with Indonesian educational backgrounds. The short answer is yes, it is possible. There are a couple of ways, but the most one of the ways is like, for example, you get your bachelor or S1 in Indonesia, and you can try to get like for example study for master degree or S2 or S3 in Singapore universities, for examples. So you can find a scholarship or any kind of um, I don't know if there is any kind of opportunity to study in Singapore postgraduate or post S1, you can actually take it up first. That will make your journey to work in Singapore much easier because once you had like graduated from whatever studies you had in Singapore, it is easier then to find job in Singapore. There's another way is that if you actually work and so you study and work first in Indonesia. When you work in Indonesia, make sure you you do a very good job on whatever you do. For example, you become programmers or IT. Basically, you become in IT industry in Indonesia, for example. You need to be very good at what you do, and you gain several years of experience. And then with that experience, you can actually try to look for a similar job in Singapore. That is, I think, also a good ways. It is going to be very difficult if you're fresh graduate, like you just graduated from your study in Indonesia, to work directly in Singapore. That I'm not saying is impossible, but it is more difficult. So I think those two ways, like study, get some short study first in Singapore, I think 1 or 2 years or anything like that in Singapore, and then go to find work in Singapore, or secondly, work in Indonesia, be good, be great on what you do, gain a good experience, and then you can try to find a similar job in Singapore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's very nice. So
Oh,
moving to the next question.
it's
From Gilang
from
Jan.
Gilang Januar. Permission to ask, Mr. For the engineering department, there are uh, many branches. For example, there is NetAdmin and sysadmin. So to be able to work abroad, which is the biggest chance to be accepted?
Okay. Um, okay. Correct. You are right that there are many branches of study in engineering sectors. But it boils down to not many actually. Like we have electrical and electronics engineering. We have a computer science or computer engineering. We have materials. We have civils engineering and mechanical engineering. I think these are the main branches of engineering. What you mentioned just now, admin or something like that, I think you are talking about like computer science or computer engineering sectors. For this sector right now, I think it's no secret. There are a lot of big demands for IT professionals in all over the world, not only in Singapore and even in Indonesia. So my advice to you is that you can pick whatever under computer science or engineering branches, but make sure you are very good on that. Let's like for example, if you can pull up that question again. I mean, if you want to be very good IT admin stuff, you have to make sure that you're very good on it. You know what you are doing, and then you can almost find it in Singapore as well. So I think Singapore and not only Singapore, by the way, is like all other big countries, developed countries. They need a lot of manpower. I mean, by manpower is like technically sound manpower in the field of computer and IT in general. So just focus on trying to improve your skills, trying to improve your capabilities, and inshallah there will be opportunities like on those because computer science, computer engineering is not that big. Yeah, yeah, there are a lot of branches, but as long I think you can pick several of that branches and you do good and you are very special on it, and I think people will come look for you.
Okay. So moving on to the other question. From Gilang Janor again. So permission to ask again, Mister. Do we have to be able to master DevOps material while in DevOps there is program material? I'm still confused about DevOps, Mister.
Uh, okay, to be honest, I don't know what you meant, but the DevOps materials. Can you give me some idea what is it about DevOps materials?
DevOps. I think it's like CI/CD, something like that. Docker, maybe.
Okay. I
I think
think
it's more in software engineering
I
rather
know.
than
Okay.
IT.
Yeah, I'm not an expert in software engineering
Hmm.
per se, but I will go back to my previous advice. Um, let's say in software engineering, um, you can pick whatever branch. Like you want to be a programmer, uh, just focus on become very good at it.
Hmm.
So try to don't get satisfied just by knowing it. You need to be very good at it. You need to be very famous. You need to like keep practicing. Like you need to go extra miles. Like don't stop on what the school teach you. Okay, the school teach you something. You grasp the basics, but you need to do more. like you need to be good on that field, and that's my best advice. So don't so in relation with back to your question again, like if you're still confused, don't give up. Confused is normal.
Yes.
Everyone has it. It's just of one of the difficulties, the challenges that everyone will face. What will make different is that you don't stop when you confuse. You just ask questions, go to your teacher or go to anywhere. Just keep doing it. If it is your passions, inshallah, Allah will make it easy for you. Yeah.
Mm.
Hmm.
So I actually have a question, maybe another question for myself. So like, do you like would prefer like learning one path, like running an extra mile, uh, for instance, but like, or do you prefer like learning multiple branches? Like maybe I should learn hardware, maybe like software, this part, or maybe just like one and that's it.
I see. I see. That's a good question as well. It depending on where you are right now. I think while you are studying in the school right now, um, my advice is try to first of all you need to have scope, right? For example, even let's say you already decided that you want to go to IT or computer science scope. Inside the computer science, again, there are so many other things. There are the branches again, right? So what you need to do first is like you need to know all of those branches, and especially those who are connectly related. Try to know at least on the scratch the idea of all of those branches of what is it about actually. Try to try to know about a lot of things, a lot of stuff first, and then after that you will get you will have some idea, and then pick pick one or two or three maybe of those branches that you have most interest with, and go ahead, dive deep on that on that particular branches and be very good at it. That is one strategy. The other strategy is that if you still not sure what you want to do, you can actually go search online or ask professional, those mentor or someone who already work in IT sector, and ask them what is actually uh, in what is actually become the hot topics or hot sector right now. For example, if there is there any particular programming language that is popular in the industries right now, then they will give you like a lot of inputs, right? And from there you can pick, okay, this sounds to be the way to go. This is where the trends is, and then you take that up and you can be more become a specialized on that. But at the end of the day, you need to be able to be flexible, flexibles, and don't never tell yourself, okay, I'm only doing this. I don't want like to go for other things. For example, I don't want to try other things. It's not like that in technology or in technology sector. Thing always change, so you need to be able to adapt yourself. You need to equip yourself with as many skills and knowledge that you can, so that you can adapt to whatever is being needed at that time. But becoming so uh, both, I think if possible you need to be both. You know a lot of things, and you have one things that you are specialized with. So you are good on one things, but you also know
Yeah.
other things, although is on service level.
Thanks for the answer, Mister. So I think that's all the questions from last chat. There aren't that much questions, but well, yeah.
Do you have any last word to end this episode, Mister?
Um, and words, I think I would like to conclude with the as advice for every one of you, to the student, to everyone listening, like one hadith from Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam about ihris ala ma yanfa'u. I think every one of us need to be motivated, need to be striving or keen to do things that are of beneficial to us, both in our study and in also in our religion. Yeah, I think that's. I think I would end with uh, that last words, that from that hadith. Ihris ala ma yanfa'uk, and wasta'in billah wala ta'jas, and don't be give up, never give up, never lose your motivations. Understand that we will impossible to say that we will be motivated all the time, but there will be a down and ups. But when you down, try to go back to your to the right track, and then never give up. That's yeah, that's will be my last word for me as well.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for the very insightful answers and the last words. I hope it'll be useful for all of us. It has been very invaluable. Thank you very much, especially for the
Yeah,
viewers. Yeah.
I hope a little from me can be of beneficial to everyone, especially to myself. I also thank you, IDN, for inviting me. It's been a pleasure to talk with you guys.
No
Yeah, I
problem.
hope we can have we can meet in other occasion.
Hmm.
Well, this marks the end of the episode. Let us say goodbye to Mr. Farah. It has been nice
Okay,
to talk with you. I hope we'll meet you again. Goodbye,
all
Mr.
right.
Farah.
Okay,
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
assalamualaikum, waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, see you everyone. Bye
Uh,
Bye-bye.
bye.
But wait, how about the winners of the giveaway?
oh, right. I almost forgot about it.
Oh,
Well, since there are many people that answer that question, the winners of this giveaway will be Zer Parker and Gilang Januar. Congratulations for them. You can contact Mr. Bobby's phone number in the live chat to receive the prize.
now that the giveaway is out of the way.
Yeah. Uh, well, that was blast, right, Gibran?
Yeah, it was absolute blast. I learned a lot about. I learned a lot today about engineering.
Yeah, like it's really interesting, like a
Huh.
person that has gone to USA, to Singapore, even work with DDR, like DDR for like it's too crazy to me. Like he's so special. Like
Huh.
yeah, it's I hope it'll be useful for all of us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I guess we have to see you all in later episodes. It's been nice being a host in this show. I've learned a lot, and Gibran too.
Unfortunately, we have to say goodbye from here. Maybe that's all from the English we can talk for this week. Thank you very much for joining us, and we are deeply sorry if there's any mistakes from us. Let's end this talk with Hamdallah and Kafaratul Majlis prayer. Subhan Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik.
Take care and see you next week. We're living here. Bye bye.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.